We said that this match would be a measuring stick, and FC Cincinnati learned a bit about themselves this week indeed. Just a handful of matches left before the playoffs, and the orange and the blue are going to need to kickstart some offense, maybe just decrease some of those errors. And that's kind of why I'm happy we have the squad we have on here tonight, because I genuinely want to know, and was talking with the other fans around me at TQL Stadium, what can be done this late in the season to really make that playoff push. So we're going to chat a little bit tonight about LAFC. We're going to discuss what FC Cincinnati can do to heat up before the MLS playoffs. We also have a special guest joining us this evening to bring us something fresh and new. I'm looking forward into getting into the good stuff with my co-hosts. I'm Boston Brazel, joined by Bryan Weigel, coach, and Jason Ashcraft, and you are listening to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Our show is, of course, sponsored by Apollo Home Beyond Exercise and by viewers like you. A little PBS there. We wanted to go ahead and jump right into it this evening. So first up, we'll bring him in. Jason Ashcraft, good to have you back, sir. Been a couple weeks, I think.
Good to be back. Yeah, it's been a little while. Got my nice frosty Sam Adams Oktoberfest ready to get into it.
You're more prepared than I am. My drink of choice tonight, do not make fun of me, coach, is a Sprite Zero Sugar Chill. So somehow I am taking it real easy. All right. Speaking of coach, we'll get him in here next. How you doing, bud?
I always know, Boston, that they said you had zero chill. Now I get what they meant.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
No, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the big show this week. I'm grown up today.
Yeah. Serious topics tonight, so we got to bring in the serious heavy hitters. All right, Bryan, you're up next, and then we'll get into your guys' best and worst.
No, happy to be here. Kind of sad that I didn't get to be a part of any youth games this weekend due to the pouring rains, but got back out in the field today, killed a lot of grass. That was good to get back out with the boys. And I don't know if you ever get to see me. I'm pretty chill when I'm coaching the sidelines, but I've been pointing out that I actually was accosting a ref last week, and there's photo evidence now. So that's all cool. The first time I've ever done that in 2 years. So go check out my Facebook page. You'll have a really good laugh.
I don't know about you guys. I can't even see my driveway. It is so covered in soppy wet leaves and sticks, and just like, how do you clean up the mess when it just keeps every day?
Live in the suburbs and get a shorter driveway, Boston. Don't live out in the sticks.
Still, though, man, I would imagine like everybody's yards are just disasters ever since this all started, because we haven't had a break.
It looks green around here. I don't know about you guys, but that's the first time. First time it's been green like 45 days.
Yeah, I need to overseed now. It's looking great out in my backyard.
Speaking of overseed, nice, beard you got there, pal.
Yeah. It might take 5 months, but it does come in glorious when it does finally come in.
Well, I don't look forward to busting out the mower in October, but I think that's what that's at least. There's at least one more mow on the horizon, and I gotta get it. I gotta get looking like TQL Stadium's turf. You know, there's a big topic in FCC land this week. Is that turf going to make it through the off season, or are they just do they need to switch back to the old stuff?
To be fair, I thought like the last home game it looked pretty good. It was looking like it was growing in, and then of course, when you have all this rain, 5 inches of rain getting dumped on, it's kind of tricky.
Yeah, that ball was definitely bringing up some water and stopping and doing weird things. But I mean, both teams got to play with that, so it didn't bother me that much. I am interested to see if they'll go back, because our pitch was pretty awesome. It played pretty good before the change, before the concert, as the FCC fans online will say, before FCC sold their soul for a cash country concert money grab and tore their own pitch up. Seems to be the Jason Aldean's going to get no love around here for a long time.
How very Reds of them.
It wasn't Jason Aldean, though.
It wasn't?
No, it was Kenny Chesney.
That's all the same thing.
Yeah, they are. They're both awful, but get your awful country music right.
Ashley's going to come after you, man. You better watch out.
She will. Yeah. What Brian's talking about there is Brad's wife and my wife go to country concerts together frequently. So All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it. Best and the worst. We'll start with you, Jason, and then move on down the list.
My best. A while ago I sold my tickets to this game. I've just been really busy. I had to sell a bunch of tickets this year, and
Boo.
I know,
Shame.
life,
Ding. Shame. Ding.
whatever. So the person who bought the tickets, and this was months ago, they sent me a Facebook message and said that they went in spite of the rain, and it was their very first FC Cincinnati game, and they still had a blast, still really enjoyed it. And that kind of warmed my heart a little bit because, share the experience. And that's what we need to do as FC Cincinnati fans. My worst of the week, the injury bug, guys. I know we're going to talk about it, but it's not just a bug, it's an infestation on this team this year. And we've had two go down in this past match, and hopefully it's not real bad. It remains to be seen, but yeah, that's my worst of the week.
I don't want to step on Coach's feet, so all I'll mention is that you missed Flagmageddon, Jason.
I saw that on TV.
It's a bummer. But all right, Bryan, you're up next. Best and worst.
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for your nice thoughts online. I am stepping away from podcasting following this season, so it's nice to get a lot of emails and DMs, text messages. Actually, one of the coaches that I'm coaching against in my league wrote me a nice note about it. That kind of shocked me. So much appreciated. Very excited to be a fan and not having to do all the extra homework and having my takes just all the time out there on Twitter. So thank you very much. My worst of the week. It almost felt hopeless watching the game. We kind of battled back through, I would say, the middle 30 minutes, and then having Bouanga come on and take LAFC to another level, and we couldn't get there. I think that was probably my worst of the week. And we've been saying this, what's FCC going to do to get to that next ramp, that next ramp up, kind of mimic Columbus last year. And seeing them this week really kind of put a fear in me about the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that they're definitely caused probably one of my first. Oh, are we ready? Cause for concerns after this one. But Bryan, I do want to say we appreciate you, and you were part of CST long before I think the three of us. And I know you personally brought me into this whole world. I never thought in a million years an accountant could sit here on a microphone and do any of this. And I was painting next to Bryan at a TIFO night, and I still to this day don't know how he talked me into it, but he somehow convinced me. He was just that desperate. But no, I do. I appreciate everything you've done. I know if Subs was here, who started this thing, would say the same thing. And CST has been vastly better since 2016 because you're a part of it. So appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, and don't worry, I'm sure I'll be around some point to correct who's ever in the host chair 5 years down the line, or give FC Tac Talk a snipe or two on Twitter. We'll see.
Well, I'm sure whoever's running the show around here will be happy to have you anytime you want to pop back on just for your random takes. And I also think it's hilarious that you think you're going to stop tweeting terrible takes just because you're not on the show. Like if anything, you're going to have more time to just let those thumbs roll.
Yeah, I can't wait to be accosted as a MAGA or a left wing person now that I'm just all my filters are going to be gone apparently. So
All right, Coach. Not to hold you up. Let's get you in here.
No, that's okay. I could say thanks to Bryan as well for bringing me in and for all of the mentoring and the help along the way and for really doing this. But I am way too petty for that. So thanks for nothing, you big jerk, leaving me here.
Know, right?
No, but seriously, it's been a joy, and it'll continue to be a joy. But we will miss you, Bryan. My best of the week, Boston alluded to it with Flagmageddon or whatever. The flags were kind of gimmicky, but I just thought the environment in the game, I did not expect anything. I got there and I looked out. There were a lot of empty seats because people on the concourses because of the rain, on the side of the stadium where the rain was hitting because it was opposite me because of the wind. So I thought, oh man, this is going to be drab. But that place was rocking. And I was really just impressed with the Bailey, with the fans, being away for so long in California and moving back and getting to go to games again. I'm just continually in awe. It's like you don't know what you got till it's gone. Being away and then coming back, just remembering how great it is to be in that stadium. So that was my best, and with a slight second best to Alvis Powell, because I thought he was just so much fun,
Right?
and I thought he was awesome, and I really wish he would have gotten one of those shots to go in. My worst is going to be Lucho Acosta. And I tweeted about this, man. He gave away the ball with 44% of his touches in the first half. He was so bad. And everybody gets to have an off game. But here's what you can't do as a captain when you have an off game. You can't, when somebody else misplays a pass, start throwing out your hands and being like, you should have put it right on my foot. He was yelling at Kubo. He was yelling at Nico. He was giving it to all his other players for not doing well when he himself was playing so poorly. And he was a big reason why they lost that match, because offensively he did not have it, and he didn't bring it defensively like you would expect. Too many plays taken off, too many times yelling at his teammates. And I was really disappointed in our captain, although he is a quality guy, so I'm sure he will come back stronger.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to follow that now. It's not every day one of us has the guts to take on Lucho Acosta. But my best of the week is really seeing the cool responses to some of the awful, tragedies, especially that have gone on in the Carolinas. And I've seen a lot of soccer fans that were impacted, especially from our USL era, and people coming together for different people that are down there that have gotten stranded or whatever. And it's kind of cool to watch it through the lens of a sport, because I'm not super political and I don't follow a lot of the different trends out there. And in fact, when I see something political, I'm usually lost and I have no idea what's going on. But it is cool to see it through the lens of soccer and how the soccer community can come together and help things. So I do want to give a shout out there for that best. And then my worst of the week, it's just got to be the doubt that creeped in my brain. I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I'm pretty optimistic, and I've been saying for a long time that there's time. It's like the first time I'm like, is there enough time? I don't know if there's enough time, and the doubt's creeping in. I don't know if we are one of the top 5 teams in this league for the first time ever. The only thing that I think helps is that Columbus and Miami also drop points, so their fans are probably going, what the heck? And then the Western Conference all of a sudden looks really good. Whereas if you would have asked any pundit the first half of the season, they would have been like all the powers in the East. I think there's still some truth to that, but it's sometimes this league's all about who gets hot wins.
So we were kind of both. I don't want to say we're on the ledge here, Boston, but at least we are not Austin, Nashville, and St. Louis, baby. Talking all this smack our first couple of years, and they are wildly underperforming on the wrong side of the table. They're taking out LED video cars, trucks around their cities, saying like Josh Wolf out, and they're calling their owners cheap. So it's okay to be, we were just bad at winning. We always tried. At least we're still trying to do awesome things. So there's still a lot of hope for the future.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not down on FCC as a club, as I don't think it'd be one thing to be a San Jose fan and know you're going into 2025 with as much hope as you went into 2024. We don't have. Yeah, I'm with you, Brian. We don't.
Their owners trying to move their baseball team right now. So,
and they did clinch the wooden spoon this weekend.
Yeah, they did.
Did they really?
Did.
Oh
yeah.
My gosh,
it's officially theirs.
They're going to be worse than what we were, right?
They could be. They
could be.
Yeah, there's still a chance for them to redeem themselves.
They're at 18 points. My goodness. Whew.
Yeah. So I mean, it's better to be an FCC fan than be a fan of most teams, I would say, and I truly believe that. But with that comes extra, and maybe it's not fair, but extra responsibility in that we now are expecting greatness, and we're expecting to be a top 5 team every year. At least that's how I go into it. So, All right, we'll talk about that in a little bit more later. First up, let's give a shout out to Beyond Exercise, the local. Oh, wait. I got my reads wrong. We're going to give a shout out to
flip it.
Apollo Home.
Flip it, reverse it.
If you have an HVAC, plumbing, or electrical need, reach out to Apollo. They've been serving the greater Cincinnati and southern Dayton areas for over 110 years and would love to help. If you ever need anything, give the guys at Apollo Home a call. They've been supporting us for 2 years now, which is just absolutely insane to think about. They support local soccer, so we appreciate them. And we will get to our friends at Beyond Exercise a little bit later. We don't want to cram you full of ads, though, first. So let's get into this 2-1 loss at home versus LAFC. First, a little bit of a, I want to say new look, but really we see the same 4 guys being recycled at this point. You got Nico and Yuyo Kubo up top. Buka was back after having a baby, so that was pretty cool. And what'd you guys think? The lineup comes out. We kind of do this every week. What's your first thoughts?
Go for it, Coach.
I'll let me lead off, and I'll let Coach kind of follow back off there. I think last week I was banging the drum for Kelsey next to Kubo up top. They went with Nico. I think Pat Noonan was in his press conference today talking about how Nico does the right things. He's a good teammate. He just doesn't have that final end product. He got a goal taken off the tally sheet last week. I wanted to give him another chance. I wanted to see how he played, but he just couldn't get any touches on the ball. And I'm not sure if that was, I want to be like, oh, he's terrible. And I put up a tweet saying, Kelsey's better than Nico. But how many times in this game was a long ball from a Waziem or a ball under immense pressure from the wingbacks flying up to Nico, who had to have his back to goal, who had a D mid in front of him, 2 center backs behind him, and he was just under immense pressure. So, yes, I want a DP striker to be able to battle through that better, but I don't think he was in a position to succeed. He nor Kubo really stretched the field. I mean, when we got the ball, we sat on it. We just cycled it around. It literally Awaziem to Wobodo to Buka, back to Ian Murphy, switch it over to Miles Robinson or Yedlin, who then would be frenetic and launch a ball up top to Nico or to Lucho and turnover. And I don't know if that's a tactical thing from Pat Noonan, but I've been saying this on the show for a month and a half. We are playing so slow in possession. What's it going to take to get guys out into space and to run? Sergio Santos is great over 30 to 40 minutes. He's not a 90-minute guy, so I see why he's not starting. So when we're moving so slow, it just kind of brings my question is, who's the better person to put in that role? Is it Nico or is it Kelsey?
Yeah, I put on the rundown for this. What is the point of Nico Gioacchini? And the reason why is not a skill thing. I think that he's a fine player. I think probably in a straight up skills and what you can do for any team, I think Nico's a better player at this point in his career than Kevin Kelsey. The reason why I say what is the point in him is that he does so many of the same things that a guy like Yuya Kubo does. And because he hasn't been with this team but for 5 seconds, he's doing them at the same time Yuya Kubo is doing. So you saw immediately when Santos came onto the field, Kubo still kept doing the thing where he was dropping way too deep into Lucho's space, but then Santos was running in behind and stretching the field. In the first half, Kubo would drop into that space and Nico would be like, oh, that looks fun, I'm gonna go too. And then there's Lucho and Nico and Kubo within a 10-yard circle and nobody stretching the back line. And it allowed those center backs from LAFC that were not the quickest players to just sit on those guys. And the reason why Nico had people breathing down his back when he received the ball is because he never made them run towards their own net. And then when you think about the fact that he is a rented player, that he's not going to be here for sure. I know we have some rumblings that Kevin Kelsey might not be here, probably won't be here either, but at least that's a potential. Nico's not here. He's a rented player. So it's not even well, take your lumps now so he gets used to the team. If he can't play himself into gelling with Lucho and Kubo and Big Kev and the other guys within the next 3 matches, I don't know how you put him out there as a starter in the playoffs. So when I say what is the point in him starting, I think it's the whole body of work. At least with Big Kev out there, you get somebody that the opponents have to respect a certain thing that he can do, right? And you saw when he came on for the last 25 or 30 minutes, the number of times he received the ball under pressure, took a beating, and then still passed it off to an FCC player. Probably still only 2 or 3 times, but that was 2 or 3 times more than Nico, who had, I think, 9 touches in the first half, 3 turnovers on those 9 touches, and committed 2 fouls. It's like, I don't know. When I say what is the point in Gioacchini, it's all of that. I think he's a fine player. If I'm Pat Noonan, I'm looking at this film and I'm saying, I'm going to start my guys. And if I can use this guy that they saddled me with for part of this season late in the game, or to help me close out a game with his pressing, that's when I'll do it.
28 touches for 28 touches for
Coach got so mad he left.
Yeah, seriously though, but 28 touches for Sergio Santos and 7 touches for Nico Gioacchini. That's unbelievable. And the fact that you see like Nico Gioacchini getting that not point blank chance in the 42nd minute, but I mean he had it was a corner kick that went to Powell that went back to Gioacchini and he shoots it 20 feet over the bar, or heads it 20 feet over the bar. I mean, you just need a guy that can come in I mean, we need those in that game. In that moment, he has to finish that chance. Like that's what a DP player does. And it's just, he's not making a case for himself. I mean, on the field, at least during games, maybe he's having great practices, but I
think a lot of the frustration with him is like, kind of to Coach's point, is he's not doing anything that, and like you even said it too, Bryan, he's not doing anything that you would expect from a guy making that amount of money. He's a good filler player. Like at this point, I'm almost of the mind of start Kubo and Kelsey up top, run Gioacchini in as a super sub there at the end, and in place of Kubo. But this team has a lot of strikers now that are just kind of there. Like you got Corey Baird, you got Sergio Santos, who I hope he's doing okay, and then you got Yuya Kubo, all 3 of which kind of play the same position when they're up top. And then I wonder if Kevin Kelsey is on some sort of minutes thing as part of his loan, because
would make sense.
Why isn't he getting more playing time? I've been screaming this for weeks.
Yeah, especially with Baird's kind of relegated outside the rotation for now, so he's not even stuck in. I saw he was on appearance duty last week. So when you get on that train, you're usually not making the roster.
But a kill shot there, Boston. Jeez Louise.
Hey, I just noticed it. So I was like, oof. All right. So no, I share some of your guys' concerns. The one thing I thought was really bad though, like really, really bad, was the passing.
Mm-hmm.
We kill ourselves with turnovers, and we've been killing ourselves with weeks. Even the ones we've been winning or tying, we're handing. What happened to the stout defensive FC Cincinnati? I don't necessarily think this is all on the center backs, although recovery on these turnovers can be blamed on the center backs, but we put ourselves in a bad situation when the midfield hands the ball on a silver platter.
Yeah, only 75% accurate passes for the match. That's way below what you wanted. There were multiple times where Obi just straight up either passed to the wrong guy or his pass just died on that wet turf and got picked up by a guy in the puke green that LAFC was wearing. So you're right, Boston. It has been surprisingly poor. And I was just on FOTMob, and because based on what Coach was talking about, Lucho Acosta is only 77% accurate passing on the season right now, which is not good for a guy of his caliber in his position. I don't know. Maybe people are hurt. Maybe they need their eyes checked. I mean, there is something going on.
I think I turned to my friend during the game and I said, I wonder if LAFC's terrible jerseys blend in with the grass. And we
It's
can't
camo.
see
Dude, they did. They were suspiciously grass colored.
But you know, Jason, you talk about Lucho's 77% passing, and I think one thing I want to bring up here is you can take that from a guy like Lucho when he's having 7 or 8 key passes a game, right? Because you're going to turn the ball over trying to fit it in. It's like I tell people, you know, strikers, when I talk about this possession loss ratio and how Lucho lost it 44% of the time, strikers hover around 30%, just like the good strikers do, because they're, you know, receiving back to goal, they're getting hit, they're going to turn the ball over. So 77% for Lucho on the season is still not where I would want it, but it's not terrible. The problem is the places that FCC are turning the ball over. Lucho's not turning the ball over trying to fit it through the center backs into, you know, a striker running forward all the time. He's turning it over trying to play a square ball. Or, you know, there was a play where he received the ball in the open field on the half turn, tried to dribble forward, and then tried to meg Eddie Segura. And Eddie Segura just closed his legs, and the ball was going back down FCC's throat just like that. Lucho had players out in front of him, but instead of trying to pass the ball or even trying to beat the guy in a way where if he gets tackled, the ball is at least going, you know, squibbing off to the side, he tries to meg him. And that is a problem. I get Lucho makes magic, but you have to understand the moments in the game when you can do that. And when your team sees you in the open field and is pouring forward to support you, you can't turn the ball over on the dribble right there. Miles Robinson was inexplicably terrible passing in the first half until he moved to the center of defense. And then all of a sudden, he played this beautiful through ball at one point, the one to Lucho where he could have shot with his left foot. Instead, he tried to cut it back onto his right and then had a shot blocked, if you remember that one. I don't understand what Miles was doing on right center back. It's like he forgot to pass. So, and again, when you're turning the ball over passing as a center back, it better be because you kicked it over everybody's head and Hugo Lloris is picking it up. It better not be because you passed it straight to a midfielder, right? And so, Jason, you hit the nail on the head with the fact that it feels like almost like just a vision problem. It's inexplicable because the players then find their rhythm. You said for the match, it was like 75% or something. Well, that's only because it went up from the first half. When it was worse than that, I'd have to suspect, because they were much better in the second half.
All right, this is getting good. I hate to turn away, but we need to jump to our guest, and then we will get right back into this as well. Although I am still really excited about this segment. We are bringing in Josh Valentine of Cincinnati Amputee Soccer. Josh, it is great to have you, and we're looking forward to chatting with you here for the next handful of minutes.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was a good conversation. Sorry to break up the stride.
No, not at all.
So, Josh, thanks for reaching out to us. We learned a little bit about your program, and kind of wanted to help grow this this ambitious project that you have. So it's called Cincinnati Amputee Soccer Club. You have several events coming up, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But kind of give us a little bit of a background on what amputee soccer is.
Yeah, so it's a worldwide international sport. That's one thing to note, and I'll swing back on that. But it basically started in the 80s by a guy named Don Bennett here in the U.S. He was an amputee himself. He saw an opportunity to develop an inclusive and competitive athletic opportunity for limb length difference athletes. So think amputees or folks who may have one limb longer than the other. So this was developed in the 80s. It turned into an international program. So there were some international organizations set up, the World Amputee Football Federation, the American Amputee Soccer Association. And then shortly after, around 85, I believe it was, there was Amputee World Cup. And it just blew up and took off from there. So, like I said, it's international. So, for example, in Europe this summer in May, right before the Euros, there were the amputee Euros. So each country that had an amputee team played in a Euro-style continental tournament. And then just last weekend was the amputee football Champions League. And so this was more a club level style tournament. So around Europe, there are individual clubs in each country, and they played in a continental size tournament. So very, very international. Europe's not the only place that has teams like this, but those are some easy examples to give. So.
Sure. So I know you have some family ties in this whole background. Your son Max, I believe. How can you give us a little bit about your history and then how you came to create AMP Soccer here in Cincinnati?
Yeah, so I have a son. He's 11 now. In April of 2023, he was diagnosed with osteosarcoma. It's a bone cancer. And the thing about bone cancer is part of the treatment is removing the bone, and then the leg needs to be reconstructed. And so the surgery that my son had was called a rotation plasty. It's a complex surgery, but basically the bone gets removed. The lower part of the limb gets rotated 180 degrees, and the tibia and femur get joined together, and then the ankle becomes the knee joint. So it provides a lot of mobility and really doesn't limit the athlete when wearing a prosthetic. So the flip side to that is he's an amputee now, right? He does have to wear a prosthetic to walk, but while he was healing, while he was waiting to get that prosthetic and walk on it, we discovered amputee soccer. There was a tournament in Columbus, and we stumbled upon that, and Max took an interest to that and said, hey, I want to do that. So that's kind of how we got hooked into it. There's a group in Columbus. It's a pretty large group. There's somewhere between 8 to 15 folks that show up for that group. And so we started driving to Columbus. That was the closest location where we could actually get some time with other folks. And so during those trips to Columbus, just meeting more people, meeting folks in the adaptive sports community, meeting amputees themselves, we wanted to try to replicate something like that in Cincinnati. So what that led us to was getting linked up with adaptive sports organizations and then the American Amputee Soccer Association. So they have around 15 regional teams. So Cincinnati, hopefully turning into one of those. Columbus, there's New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, 2 in California, Texas, Colorado. They're all over the place. Chicago. So that's the plan. That's the history in a nutshell.
And Josh, what has the response been so far now that you're trying to get this going? Have you picked up some more players, and how's the community kind of reacting to it?
Yeah, so it's difficult. It's a labor of love, if you will. The gentleman who started the New York group, for example, had 2 or 3 players for about 10 years before it actually took off. Now they have over a dozen folks. So it's slow going, to be honest. That's kind of why I reached out to you all. Was I'm communicating with rehabilitation facilities, prosthetists, folks in the medical field, but I'm also trying to tap into the soccer community. And I'll give you an example. I met a family a couple weeks ago, and they're a soccer family, and they have a son who has was born with a limb length difference. And this is an opportunity for him to play soccer, to be part of that soccer family, right? So it's finding those people. So that's really where we are right now. Is we're just trying to spread the word to as many people as we can, trying to find those folks, trying to find those families that maybe they have a family member who wants to play soccer but never saw an opportunity. Maybe there's some folks out there who have a coworker, a cousin, a neighbor, someone out there just trying to spread the word, say, hey, look, there's an opportunity to join this wonderful sport, no matter what your disability or ability is.
So you would say your biggest challenge is letting the community know out there that this now exists, and this is where you can go.
I mean, Cincinnati is a huge soccer town, right? I mean, from top to bottom, if you have children at all, that youth soccer in Cincinnati is just massive. There's so many kids that play soccer. So there's fields, right? There's fields all over the place. There's indoor, there's outdoor, there's turf, there's grass, whatever you want, futsal, whatever you want to play on, you can play that soccer in Cincinnati. That's the great thing. That's what I love about this city. So there's field time. I've done some coaching. I've spent a lot of time around amputees now. So I've as any good coach, I've stolen drills from other coaches. So we have drills, we have balls, I have cones, I have a stack of cones, right? It's just finding these folks to participate. That's really the challenging part. So like I said, I've been working on the medical community side. I've been trying to work with the adaptive sports community. There's some great adaptive sports in Cincinnati. There's basketball, there's tennis, there's cycling, there's canoeing, there's all kinds of activities. So just trying to network in those groups and say, hey, come kick the ball around, come check it out, come see what it's like.
Awesome. Are there other ways for people to contribute time or resources to help you out right now?
Sure. Like I said, it's early going, so we're just accumulating folks right now, but I would love some volunteers. And this is, maybe folks in the medical, the PT, OT community, maybe looking for hours, or this is soccer folks who just want to donate some time. So I do have a website, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. And I do have a volunteer sign up form there that if folks are interested, they can find me. If you just search Cincinnati Amputee Soccer or Cincy Amp Soccer, you'll find like I said, website, Twitter, Facebook.
And we have all that linked in the show notes on Facebook, Twitter, and our Apple podcast. Give us a real quick rundown of some of the events you guys have upcoming.
Yeah, sure. So we've been working with the Bridge. So the Bridge has a adaptive soccer clinic this weekend. So October 5th is going to be this comprehensive soccer for all-inclusive event. So this is at Toka in Milford. And so there's deaf soccer. There's going to be powered wheelchair soccer, cerebral palsy soccer, and amputee soccer. So we'll be there for that. So that's an opportunity to come out and just check it out. It's a nice, safe environment, very friendly, all that good stuff. And then I've been lucky enough to link up with Fulcrum Fives. It's an indoor facility in Blue Ash. If you're not familiar, everybody seems to be nodding. Yes, they're infamous, as it were. And they've so kindly allowed me to run some training sessions there. So if people want to come out October 12th and October 26th at 11 a.m., there's going to be some field time for us to play. So come check it out. I have crutches. So if you're not familiar with amputee soccer, it's played on forearm crutches. It's played without your prosthetic. And then goalkeepers have a upper limb length difference. So usually two legs, and they play with one arm.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by, Josh. This was awesome to learn about, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that there are resources being dedicated in the community to this, and for guys like you to really launch and create. You're not wrong. I've seen an explosion since 2016 of just places to play, places opening up, mini pitches, and all kinds of different things to do. I know lots of people that are now playing 3x3 where years ago would have never even thought about it. And so to continue this trend for people of all abilities, and I think that's just awesome. And to have you out there looking out for your son and other amputees, just I'm so happy you reached out, because I'll be honest, I don't know if it's the first thing I would have thought of, and so I'm really happy to have you on the show, and you can come back anytime you want.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm sure you saw Max. He was the gentleman who got to pull the sword out at the Montreal game with Matt Miazga.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
If you need a taste of what this young gentleman looks like, that was him.
That's awesome.
That's great. I do remember Max then. Yeah. That's great. All right.
If you guys want to go connect, make sure to go to their website, cincinnatiamputee.soccer. Also info at cincinnatiamputeesoccer.soccer. We have all of it linked in the show notes. Go sign up, go help them out, volunteer your time, and make a difference for a soccer loving community in Cincinnati.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
stopping
Good luck,
by.
Josh.
And That was Josh Valentine swinging by, and dude, that's the one thing I love about this show. We've always had time to make time, even if it's a busy week, to discuss other Cincinnati soccer talk. It's not just FCC talk, and I know that takes the front and center. But anytime, if you are in the community, anytime you have anything like this, or you want us to talk about stuff like this, please reach out. And again, we thank Josh for doing just that, because we're not always the greatest at it. We get distracted by what Chris Albright's doing.
And if you're out there listening to this show and want to make a difference, if you want us to be a bridge, feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Please reach out to us. DM me on social media as well at Bryan Weigel. If you want to donate, your time, if you have a location, if you want to buy these guys jerseys or training kits or anything else you do to make a difference, please reach out. We'd be happy to be that medium to make that connection. So thank you guys very much for anything you can do to help a great community in our city.
Yeah. All right. Do you guys want to go back to LAFC? You got anything else? I guess I'll give you one chance to bring up something we didn't bring up yet, and then we got to move on.
Do we want to talk about wingbacks, Coach, or do you want to go somewhere else?
Well, I think
we can jump
everywhere. In the how do we go forward from here? So, all I will say is this: I think that if you are a wingback that cannot defend, then you better bring it offensively, and that means for 90 minutes. It doesn't mean like, oh, I'm not having a great first half, so I'll go on forward and then I'll turn around and I'll be like, Ian Murphy's got this.
Oh,
he can handle those guys. No, I mean, again, I criticize Lucho Acosta, and I'm just going to bring in. I'm going to just start taking the fan favorites, just chopping them off. Luca Orishano has done so many great things, and I love the kid. Love so many parts of his game, but he gets in moments in the game where he forgets that he is a wing back, and that part of the reason why he has the space to gallivant forward is because he's coming from a defensive position. And I just would like to see him put I'll say it. I'd like to see him put some Sergio Santos effort into tracking back on some of those runs.
The one thing I would say about his effort or his ability this weekend is that he at least did take some initiative to try to change how the game was going. I think he realized that there was zero hold-up play, zero offensive creation going through the first 42 minutes. And finally, he's like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to dribble it into the penalty area and I'm going to try to make something happen. So I have a little bit of grace for him. I do get a little bit disappointed. We've seen it this year. Teams scout us where it's like we turn the ball and then they put our three center backs. And that's the good and the bad with Luca. I mean, I know we were talking about this earlier, guys, but I'm all for saying screw it. Let's put Luca in one of those forward spots and see what happens. I mean, I know I've been saying this with, wanting to get him to, what's our best 11? Let's get our best 11 out there. But this guy creates magic in the spots, and there's not one person in our forward core right now that can do 75% of what he does, in my opinion.
Can I say, just since I'm on the tour of criticizing people everyone
loves?
Let's
do it. He's going to criticize me right now.
No, let's get on Pat Noonan a little bit. He gets so wedded to these ideas.
Amazing.
And, we saw LAFC play in 3-4-3, right? A central forward and two wingers. How often were those wingers wide players? Almost never. You know what Lionel Messi plays? Right wing. He's never out there in the wing. Pat Noonan could totally roll out something like a 3-4-3, not every time in a match like this. Put Luca Orishano as a wing who can come inside. Put Lucho Acosta as a wing and just tell him, man, float wherever you want, right? And then have some defensive solidity with some guys that can go forward. A guy like DeAndre Yedlin then can do his thing up and down the field, but never have to hit the final ball because he'll have somebody else out there providing width. And it's not like you have to pull out a striker who's like in form and doing great things to put out wingers, So like Pat Noonan just gets so wedded to this idea of this is the team and this is how they play. Sometimes I just don't understand it. Of course, he is a way better coach than I will ever be.
Well,
And he has ideas that I haven't had. And maybe he has a grand plan of how this all will fit together that doesn't say, let's go away from our game plan for 1 or 2 games. But man, I just like the lack of creativity at times when things aren't going right. It drives me crazy.
To be fair, he's been given a tool chest with 3 flathead screwdrivers and 4 dull chisels. So, I mean, it's not like he's been given the everything, or you could say a spice rack with expired whatever.
He's been willing to change it up, though. I mean,
Oh my God, but that's too much.
Yeah. I mean, we've had we haven't had the same starting lineup for 11 straight. I think that's what Carter put out, something like that. But he's been willing to flip around the formation a couple of times this year. I mean, we had the sword.
The sword. The sword. I'm gonna go. I'm apoplectic here with the sword because the sword. Look, what did they play then? If you're gonna go based on that, like what did they play on Saturday? They had Nico Gioacchini and Kubo both playing 10s alongside Lucho is what I saw. The sword, when they put the sword out with Corey Baird on the field, it's just a 3-5-2 with a guy that drops in a little bit more. When they put the sword out with Dado on the field as a forward, it's just a 3-5-2 with a forward who drops in more, which is the same thing we had in the 3-4-1-2 with Kubo and Nico on the field. The way that the players play when he puts Luca up there, that is different because the player is there. It's not different because he's in a different position. I think that the difference between a 3-4-2-1 and a 3-4-1-2 is like so nominal. It really just depends on how the guys are going to play when they're out there.
Do you think that he's hesitant to maybe put Luca up as a winger, like as a true winger, because of all the issues we've had on defense? Because who then fills in?
I don't think he's ever been a true winger.
That's what I'm saying. Like what Coach mentioned, try him as a winger and then maybe let him float. I've been wanting him to be a winger for a long time. I'd love to see that. I'm just saying, because we're so leaky on the back line sometimes, is that the problem? Do you not have somebody who can fill in for him? And that's what the hesitancy might be on Noonan's part.
I mean, if we want to jump to criticizing Chris Albright next, I'm game.
No, I gotta move you guys forward. We still got 2 segments to get there. Oh, all right. Well, I know I appreciate that discussion. You know what I love about having the 3 of you on and everybody who's listening to this podcast is like, yeah, shut Boston up. let the people speak. And so I do appreciate you guys throwing all your takes out there. Big news this week kind of actually surprised me. I don't know if it shocked you. We thought we were out of all the World Cup talk. I even heard about the Club World Cup and thought we were out of that too. I thought we were relegated to just hosting some random Jamaica team or something like that come World Cup time. But no, Cincinnati was a surprise host in the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup, June 15th through July 13th. 2025, running concurrent with CONCACAF Gold Cup, 63 matches in total. Cincinnati will be one of 12 cities in the United States hosting them. Originally, it was 8, and maybe that we didn't make the original 8, right?
There was no official original 8. ESPN had come out and said that there was 8 teams, but I think FIFA got smart. They realized they weren't getting any or as much TV money as that they wanted, so they said, quantity over quality, baby. So we're just going to throw 12 cities in there and get Cincinnati and Nashville involved to pump the numbers, babe. To get some more sponsors and stuff. Now, I was sitting at my parents' house drinking some bourbon with Brad, and all of a sudden we're just like, holy crap, we're gonna host the Club World Cup, guys. Like, I know the Club World Cup is not exceptional right now. I'd say maybe it was in line with what would have been the Confederations Cup in terms of prestige, in terms of international. Well, international versus club, but people are like, okay, it's happening. Maybe we'll pay attention. But FIFA's actively trying to market this as like the next future thing. And the fact that we get to be tied into something that's going to have so many eyeballs and so much push from FIFA is absolutely incredible. We were complaining, oh, why are we not hosting CONCACAF Gold Cup? We're never. I could probably put. I think this is a chisel. We will never host a more important / impactful / prestigious event in the history of this club. I don't think, unless we host like Barcelona or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, this is we need to sell this game out. I don't care if you're paying $250. Like, this is going to be an incredible, incredible event that there's going to be, millions and millions of people watching these matches.
They kind of played their hand when they announced all the Gold Cup games were going to be on the West Coast, and all the Club World Cup is on the East Coast. So
except Rose Bowl and Seattle.
Yeah. So get ready to watch your if you're going to watch the Gold Cup, which honestly, who cares about that? Get ready to watch that at like 10:30 in the evening. So,
hey, I'll say with this whole thing, I know there's going to be talk about, $50 million to each team, and do the players actually want to play in this thing? And it's in June through July, and these guys are going to have insane seasons this year to next. But in all reality, guys, like I was wedded to this international idea when Morocco came to play here, and we saw all those Morocco fans. And just imagine, even if it's a Japanese club or a South American team, it's going to be a bonkers atmosphere, and it's truly going to be something special. I hope they blow this out in the city. I hope we get several games versus one. Even if we just get one or two, that's still amazing. But it's built on our backs. It's built on, us showing up for big games, and our ownership group going out and paying the money to get these games, because they're having to pay host fees, I'm sure. And it's just a testament to everything we've done. I mean, who could have imagined this in 2017, 2018, that we'd be hosting the Club World Cup? This news story should be getting so much more traction in the city.
I'm excited to watch a match that matters, and regardless, I mean, how many times?
Well, that's up for debate.
Well, it matters a whole lot more than a friendly, and that's what we get.
Certainly.
We get a lot of United States friendlies. We get a lot of. I don't know if we've had in TQL. I don't think we've had just like a random Wrexham comes to town type of friendly, but this is going to be an actual competition. That's what I'm excited about.
So you're going to have 12 high-level European teams. You're going to have 6 South American clubs, 4 from Asia, Africa, CONCACAF, one thrown from Oceania. So, and then another American USA team. So, I mean, you're going to be able to see teams actually play their players. Like, maybe Chelsea shows up and actually plays their players. Maybe AC Milan shows up and actually plays Christian Pulisic for more than 22 minutes. I mean,
if it's in Cincinnati, Christian Pulisic isn't going to want to play.
You're so freaking spot on. It's hilarious.
I am pumped. I will go. I don't care. I'm sure it'll be expensive, but I'm going to attend that. I think this is something worth supporting.
And again, who cares if it's Japan? Who cares if it's Korea? Who cares? I mean, Argentina. I mean, that's still amazing to see.
Yeah, man. If we got like Boca Juniors or somebody,
oh my god,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a lot more realistic than. But I mean, still, like, they're still going to have to put some European teams out in these. I mean, there's 12 of them, so they're going to have to play in some of these MLS cities. I mean, it's just a fact.
All right.
Watch us get Columbus. We'll get so
Speaking of Columbus, man, their fans are peeved that we got picked over them. So at least there's that. But honestly, if you look at the map, they clearly picked the largest. When you pick Nashville and FC Cincinnati, you're going with the biggest SSS stadiums in the country. So that's what Columbus you built too small, and that's why you get overlooked on these things like this.
And that's why you're moving to Cleveland in a few years.
What a guy.
FCC still has a midweek match this week versus New York City FC. So no rest for the weary. We are looking at, is this true? I didn't even know if I knew this. FCC will at least be the 3rd seed.
Yes. Yeah. At least in the East. Yeah. We will be guaranteed at least a 3rd seed, which
I still thought 4 was on the, was theoretically possible, but I haven't looked at the table. I haven't looked below us in a while.
And we got 3 games left. We're sitting on 56 points. Orlando's on
10
46.
points below is at 46.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you guys think they're locked? Do you think it's Miami, Columbus, FCC?
I mean, we're only 1 point behind Columbus at this point.
Well,
I mean,
Columbus,
we're not trending great, but
Columbus
we
plays
could
Miami. Columbus plays Miami Wednesday. If they can win, then they'll only be 5 points back with 3 games to play. Miami has 2. So,
yeah, Crew also has a game in hand over us, so we're only 1 point back, but they have an extra game to play.
Pretty solid.
And when you lose to a team on Saturday in LAFC that was partying a couple nights before and flew across the country, back to Boston's first point when he's like, the seeds of doubt. Makes me think we're going to be the 3 seed, and I'm just trying to hope that we can get on a roll heading into the playoffs.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the one thing that it is always true, it doesn't matter if you're the best team in the playoffs or the crappiest team in the playoffs. It is still a freaking one and done after you get out of that first round. So anything can happen on any given night. And Luca and Lucho and these guys go ham. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter how good that team was. We saw that last year. FC Cincinnati had won the Supporter Shield by now. I think I saw Jeff Tebbets put in chat. And so you're talking about just an amazing, we were so good last year. We had the whole stinking thing wrapped up with a bow on it today. And then we go in the playoffs and, like Philadelphia.
Made the Eastern Conference final.
Yeah, but still Philadelphia. And I think we had beaten them twice that year. It doesn't matter. How many times Columbus beat you and how many times Miami's beaten you doesn't matter once you get the playoffs, because the playoffs are their own thing. It's honestly my biggest complaint with the entire tournament as a whole is I really just don't think the playoffs matter. You throw the whole season out.
That's what playoffs are, man.
I know.
That's a take, bud. That's a take.
You could have given me 3 guesses, and I would have never guessed between Boston as a Supporter Shield truther and Boston is an MLS Shield truther. In 3 guesses, I would have not gotten that right.
And somehow we lost to the Philadelphia Union last year. Didn't know that happened either.
I become a Shield truther kind of over the. Coach, explain to me what's the point of playing this super incredibly long season from February to October just to start over again and do it in 4 or 5 games?
You're asking the wrong guy. I've said from the beginning, from before FC Cincinnati won the Shield, I've said, that's the prize, because as a fan, if my team won the Shield, I got to see so many wins throughout the season. That's the max enjoyment. I would love for them to put a star on their crests. That is what I want now because of the symbolism, but actually winning the tournament, it involves so much luck. I think that winning the Shield is so much harder to do.
I don't know I don't think you're as like big a sports fan across the board, like with American football, baseball, basketball as I am. I don't know.
This is coming from an SID.
All I'm saying is I don't care either way, but like I want soccer people to have this level of anger towards the NFL playoffs and the MLB playoffs and March Madness, which is the greatest sporting event on earth. Like, if you're going to be mad about MLS playoffs, please be mad about all playoffs. Because hockey season is starting. They play 80-some games, and then in June, they're going to be in the playoffs. So, like, it's America, man. What can I tell you?
I get it. In my opinion, let's shrink the season and make the playoffs longer then. Because I don't know why we're playing such a long season. just
I
to have
want-
it not matter.
Did you
I
watch
think you should
basketball this
do-
week?
Basketball.
Yeah, well, baseball. Do we really want to model ourselves after the sport that's dying?
Not baseball, basketball.
Oh, I don't
The
even
guys
know what
who
that is.
created South Park created a game that has a 5-month playoff. Come on. now.
And by the way, Jason, I am mad about all those playoffs. It doesn't mean they're not fun.
At
MLS
least
playoffs are
you're
fun.
at least you're
I will
consistent.
watch and I will be bought in. Like I'm not saying I don't want them to win or I don't want them to exist. They are fun, but I am mad about those other things. It drives me nuts that as a fan of some team that most people hate that wear blue, they can roll through a season and be fantastic and then lose as like a 2 seed to a 15 seed in the March Madness. And it's not even just that, oh, that was unfortunate and that was terrible. It's the whole season was garbage because of that game. That's all. Yes, I am mad. Thank you.
Okay, at least you're consistent. I appreciate the consistency.
And I Jason, I can do playoffs too. I just can't take soccer as to me, soccer is not a one and done. So you have to expand the playoff. You got to expand
The
playoff.
most popular soccer competitions on the planet are all playoffs.
Yeah.
Throughout
The Champions League is a playoff. Basically, the World
we
Cup
also
are
were
playoffs.
doing
Home and away though, at least.
we're also doing those too. So like we're still doing Leagues Cup and we're still going to be in Open Cup next year. It sounds like.
Yeah,
So it's like-
I
We already have that
playoff.
stuff.
I'm a playoff
No.
fan because
Open Cup
you
should die.
we don't have a balanced schedule. That's nearly impossible to do that. And B, I never want us to be like Europe, where call me in a month when Man City has wrapped up the Premier League again. Like it's that they need playoffs. They need playoffs. We do it right. Playoffs all the way, baby. I don't like the format though. The best of 3, that's stupid.
I would have
But-
brought this up sooner if I knew it. It had got us all going at each other's
Spurs
necks.
fans would love more playoffs.
Oh yeah, I'm a Spurs fan.
Mm.
I think we got 3 of us here who are.
I'm not.
No, I think there's just 2. All right. Well, regardless, we're gonna kind of skip over it. But New York City FC is not a chump change game to overlook. They just kicked the ever-living crap out of the Red Bulls this weekend, and so
I have a question though for Coach. Okay, so you're Pat Noonan, and you're coming into this short week with a big break after this. What are you telling the guys? I mean, are you trying to be hyper motivator? Are you trying to be like we're staying the course, let's figure it out. We still got months left to play. What do you think the mentality of a coach is going into these 2 short turnaround matches before this break?
Yeah, this is going to be a supremely ungratifying answer, I think. But as a coach, I am so married to what I want my team to do in terms of process. That is all I am focusing on. So I'm going into this match and saying the things that aren't working are these types of turnovers and this type of motion in our offensive third. That's all I want to see all for the day that we have training. That's all I want to see in New York City. I want to see this happening. If we do that and we don't make a single goal and we lose 5-0, but we do those things, I'm actually going to be like, all right, guys, that was an unfortunate day, but we did what I wanted. I want to solidify how we're going to play in the playoffs. And what that means is I'm going to have to throw out my starting lineup, if I even have one, which I'm not sure Pat Noonan does, that I want to use in the playoffs because I want to see those guys and I want to have film that I can show them and say, here, this is what I need more of every single game.
So if we see Gioacchini this week, playoff starter, Sharpie marker.
I think so.
Another
Scares me.
thing,
Yeah,
though,
after he was so glowing about his performance.
another thing we need to be watching though, guys, is CONCACAF Champions Cup qualification too, because right now I think we talked about it on our Slack. We have to finish above RSL in the standings. They're only 5 points behind, 4 points behind FC Cincinnati. So, if we want to make the CONCACAF Champions Cup, now is the time to lock that up as well.
Essentially a win and we get in. Very likely a win and we get in.
Yeah, I think by emphasizing the process, I'm going to get that win, maybe not in New York, but down the stretch. So that's why I said it's ungratifying, because it's not like rah, we got to do this or this, it all rides on this. It really is just like, here are the things that we need to do to be successful. So let's continue to work towards doing them.
I mean, if I'm Pat Noonan, I just throw up like a slideshow of, hey, remember we went to Jamaica and the pretty ladies on the beach? That's your motivation right here, fellas. Come on now. And then we get sent to Canada. Just watch.
Well, Coach, you've convinced me. I'm okay. I'm okay trying something in this one as well. I wasn't before, but yeah. If we can spark something on offense, or just create if we're truly locked at 3, which I know we just had a discussion that that's not the case, but it kind of feels like the case that we're locked at 3. Then who gives a crap? If you can't drop to 4, then let's try it, because whatever we've been rolling out here the last few weeks has just not been working. So I'm on team Coach. All right, let's get into your final thoughts. We have hit the 10 o'clock hour and blown past it, so we will try to cash through here and move on. First up, Coach, and we'll go Bryan, Jason.
So my final thoughts are simply, there are so many rants I wanted to go on today that because of time I didn't get to. And yes, even with all my rants, there were more.
That's why you have your own show.
Download Talking Tactics this week, and you can hear me yell about stuff.
This is why we gave Coach his own show. He never really begged for it, but it was just that he kept making this show run over and over, and I was like, God, man, Coach, is supposed to be an hour show. We're an hour 20, hour 30 minutes. So give this guy his own podcast and get him out of here. All right, Bryan.
I'm just hoping that October is a great month for FC Cincinnati, or Cincinnati soccer in general. Looking forward to an announcement, hopefully shortly, for women's soccer. So they're saying it could be in the next couple weeks with NWSL. Looking forward, hopefully, to some good news in Cincinnati. If not, do you really want to tempt fate? Do you really want to drive a preeminent club to the hands of the USL Women's League, which, kudos to them, but if you really want to punt on us to give Cleveland, who has nothing concrete, what are you doing? So hopefully,
her home.
Bring her home. Let's go, Rose Lavelle, back here in Cincinnati. I'm ready for it. So hopefully get some good news here shortly.
You think it's ours to lose, Bryan? If you had to guess,
if the NWSL has some brain power, I think that Cincinnati's the way to go.
Yeah. I think. I mean, I hate to say this, but I think Cleveland's another North Carolina Courage, which is a perfectly fine organization, but it's not. It is.
Give them time. They could be great, but give them time. Short runway. It makes total sense. I mean, Cincinnati has everything ready. They have a women's training facility. Literally, they need a pen. They're going to sign on it, kick it off. I mean, let's roll.
Yeah. You're talking about probably one of the best setups for a women's team in NWSL, because we are going to build whatever we need to build, and it'll be awesome, versus Cleveland, which is hoping to get a minor league men's team in that stadium. So they'll have NWSL, and then it's exactly like North Carolina. That's why I compared it, because you have a dying men's team down there, and then the women's team that's kicking their butts, which is great. But that's what Cleveland's going to be. All right, not sorry to jump all over it, but you hit a topic I love, Bryan. All right, Jason.
Speaking of women's soccer, we probably need to have their coach on the show at some time. Congrats to Xavier women's soccer, ranked number 21 in the country. I used to be the sports information director for them way back in the day. They were not ranked in the top anything.
Dude,
when I was
when you were there, but they were
there.
Sick before then. They've always been a pretty decent team.
They've been pretty good. When I was there, they were not. Love their coach though. Anyway, they are 9-1-2, doing really well in the Big East. It's always good to see local college soccer doing well. So big ups to Xavier.
Thanks, Jason. Nice shout out. Love it when you guys are tuned in. All right. My final thoughts are thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Beyond Exercise, our awesome sponsor. And thanks to all of our patrons that keep it rolling. I have an apology to make. Finally, I botched it and forgot to get the Growler Cup out this week, and it was such an important one. I am so sorry. We will kickstart that back up this week. I knew I would fail eventually with all my travel. I've been traveling a lot for work, so I do, not to make excuses, but I do apologize to you guys. We will fix that, rectify it. I'll get Wednesday's link out. Thanks for tuning in to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I hope this was a great show, a little bit different, but we hope you enjoyed it. And we have more podcasts coming out this week. Check out Talking Tactics. Check out Jeff Tebbett's show, and we will see you again next week.